Hey, what's up guys, this is Terabyte, and welcome back to Asagao Academy. Now when we left off, we just got done with the tournament, where we totally kicked PBG's butt. Sorry, PBG. And then we got our ass handed to us by, Jared. So, no big surprise there, I guess. But yeah, now we're leaving the dorm, so let's find out what happens. Together we shuffled home. We fell through the doorway, exhausted, with barely enough energy to change into our PJs. Mai leapt onto her bed with a happy sigh. Oh, Hana, I'm so glad you came to Asagao. As if this couldn't have happened without me here. Mai shoved her face into her pillow and emitted a muffled reply. Yeah, whatever you say. I fell onto my bed, staring at the rungs that kept Maya and her mattress from collapsing onto me and smothering me to death in the night. That was really fun. Video games are fun, Mai. Really? She shuffled around on top of her bed. I mean, I thought it was okay. It was passable. I don't know if I'd call it super fun or anything. Oh, how dare you! Video games are amazing! I loved it! She chuckled. Seems like you found your calling. Ha ha ha, I'm sure I have. Above me, Mai yawned. Let's go to sleep. I'm exhausted. Smiling, I got up and turned out our light.
Good night.
Good night, Hana. Good night, Mai. Aw, they're so cute. As the chill weather of early spring faded and the warmth stretched across Asagao, I itched to go outside. With Satch's book in hand, I took to the streets. Since many people realized how rare this moment was, most of the usual benches and grassy spots were taken. I kept walking until I came to the soccer field. There was a practice game being held, and PBG and his friend Jeff were running across the field. Being a skirmish, the bleachers were almost completely empty. Students scattered the shiny metal seats. I can totally say words. I say that like once an episode. There was more than enough room for me. In one swift motion, practiced many times over my life, I sat down, spun my backpack onto the space next to me, and pulled out my book. I was nearly done with it. I wanted to see if I could finish it today. It was due a few days ago, so I was under pressure. At a pause in my reading, I looked up to watch PBG on the field. A shock of color at the base of the bleachers caught my eye. It looked like some kind of metallic candy wrapper, and a pang of annoyance struck me. There was a trash can nearby. Why litter? But as I jumped down the steps of the bleacher and nearly slipped off one, it became clear that it wasn't trash. The colors changed as the angle of the light did. It was an iridescent purple figurine. Itty bitty. And a kitty! Was it Gerard's? He was the only person I knew who collected them. I held it up to the nearest student, who shook his head. I was free for a while. Gerard was really into the IBK scene, so if it wasn't his, he'd probably know who it belonged to. One problem. I had no idea where his room was. Conveniently, at that moment, PBG ran off the field to get a drink. I approached him, holding the kitty in front of myself like a talisman.
Hey!
Hey, PBG, do you know Gerard's room number? I think he dropped this. I held up the kitty again, and it glimmered in the sun, much like PBG just now, what with all his physical activity. Oh, Gerard was just here. It has to be his. I asked him to bring me my goalie gloves. I wasn't ready to take McJones's place today. His room is right across from mine. Oh, great. Thank you so much.
Hey.
Hurry up, PBG. PBG groaned. It wasn't much of a break.
See ya.
Gotta go. Good luck. He took a huge gulp from his water bottle, then poured the rest on his head and jumped back in the game. His teammates patted him on the back as he rejoined them. I placed the IBK in my uniform's Lilliputian pocket and headed to Bluebell. As I entered Bluebell House, a passing boy frowned at me. Was I even allowed to be here by myself? I shook my head. There was no time to be afraid. Today I had a mission. Just as PBG said, there was a door right across his room. I knocked and fished the IBK from my pocket. Shane answered the door, not at all pleased to see me. Hi Shane, how are you? He was Gerard's roommate? Why, oh why was he Gerard's roommate? I know, right? Jeez. I tried to laugh to defuse the situation, but it was weak. I felt like I was only making things worse. I didn't know what went on in Shane's mind. He looked at the IBK in my hands. Gerard should be back in a few minutes. Oh, okay. I'll just wait in the common room. When he gets back, can you tell him to try and find me? I could read downstairs. Even if took Gerard an hour to get back, I could keep myself occupied. Shane sighed and leaned against the door frame. I could tell him, but it would be much easier if you waited in here. He put his hand out, gesturing me inside. Alright, thanks. Yeah, I can definitely tell what side of the room belongs to who. I entered the room and stood smack in the middle of it. Shane plopped onto a chair in front of what must have been his desk. I sat down what I assumed to be Gerard's chair on the opposite side. Shane swiveled around and started to click something on his laptop. Seeing as he wasn't much for small talk, I turned to observing the room. The room was well decorated, one could say. There was a lot of itty-bitty kitties, each arranged neatly with its brethren of similar design. Every empty space not filled with school-related objects was covered by the pads of the cute little cat, or at least the sealed box of one. Even parts of Shane's shelves had IBK on them. I had to admit, it was kind of endearing. Something about the dedication required was sweet.
Hey!
Do you collect itty-bitty kitties, too? Not really. They're Gerard's. I don't mind. I see. It's kind of niche. I'm surprised you're into them. Oh no, I don't collect them. I just found this one on the side of the field. PBG said Gerard was there earlier, so I came to find out whether it was his. My hastiness to disown the figure did not go unnoticed by Shane, who made a face at me. If it's not Gerard's, he'll probably know whose it is, right? It's probably Gerard's. I smoothed my thumb over the plastic kitty absent-mindedly. Shane returned to whatever he was doing online, and I conversed with the figure in my hand. Who's a pretty kitty? Who's a pretty kitty? You are! Gerard came back about 2 minutes later. Oh, thank God. And Hana! He held 2 coffees in his hands. Suddenly, he turned pink. And what are you two doing in here? Alone. Together. We're not doing anything. Hana was looking for you.
Really?
How can I help, Hana? He gave a coffee to Shane and offered the other one to me. Here, take mine. I would have gotten you one too if I knew you were here. Oh, can he stop being so cute? Ah! That's really nice of you, but no thanks. I just came to see if this was yours. For what felt like the 10th time in the last half hour, I displayed the itty-bitty kitty.
Oh, wow!
Yeah! Gerard almost dropped his coffee as he leapt forward. I lost this today. Where did you find it? It was near the field. PBG told me you were there earlier, so I wanted to give it back to you. I handed the figure to Gerard, who looked about ready to kiss it.
You're the best.
Thank you, Hana, thank you. You didn't have to do this, but you did, and I don't know what I would have done without you. It wasn't any trouble at all. It looked pretty rare.
They're special.
It's not as rare as you would think, but it's still very special to me. I'm so glad you're the one to find it. I shouldn't have been so careless. Don't beat yourself up about it. What matters now is that you have it back. Maybe zip up your pockets next time?
I promise.
You bet I'll take a load of precautions to make sure this never happens again. He placed it delicately on the shelf with the other kitties that had the same iridescent properties. Gerard looked at me while I viewed his hard-earned assemblage.
Right.
Oh, duh, Gerard, you dummy. How rude of me to to not at least introduce you to my collection. Sorry. In this room, I have 247 itty-bitty kitties of every shape and size. Good God, dude! This is the newest set, the Catastrophes. They're a band. They're really popular right now. I traded my rare extras for these the other day. The one you brought back to me is from a set of 4 that are called Opalescents. Currently, they're the only shinies. They were so pretty. My gaze fixated on them. I'm just missing the last opalescent. It's a purple one. Princess Pumpernickel. I've tried everywhere, but no one has them in stock. But there's only 3 copies in the world, so that's not really surprising. It's more surprising that I managed to get these ones. I have one of the most complete collections in the world. People think that the Kitties Company gives me the newest figures, but I earn all my IBK. I can tell this took a lot of hard work. I'm amazed at how much effort you've put into this. He sighed heavily and sat down on his bed.
Complete it.
Thanks, Hana. I just wish I could get that last figure. I could finish my collection and the kitties would all have their friends together in one place. I wish I could help. Oh my god, he's so cute! Oh my god! Don't worry about it, Hana. This is my battle to fight. I nodded, then glanced at my watch.
See you later.
Oh, I should go. I really wanted to finish my book today. But if you ever need help, I'm here. I stood up, then waved to both of them.
Bye.
Bye, Hana. Thanks again.
Bye.
See ya. Well, at least he said goodbye. Thankfully, I managed to finish my book. It took more time than I expected, though, and by the time I got back to my room, it was dark outside. When I opened the door to my room, the lights were off. I flicked them on, and the huddled form of Maya hugging a stuffed purple bear appeared on her bed.
Hello.
I'm back. Maya glanced at me, then buried her face again in her bear. Was she sulking? It was unlike her to be so unenergetic. Are you okay? Oh, okay. That doesn't sound very okay. Mai glanced at me, her face a light shade of pink, like she was holding her breath. You know, you can tell me anything. You help me out a lot, so it's the least I can do in return, right? Besides, we're friends. Mai sighed and threw the bear on the floor, where it lay as if screaming in agony. It's not fair, she sighed again. I know it's terrible to think like this, but even though I'm really happy for you getting to be friends with those guys, it's just not fair. Those guys? Who? The Normal Boots Club? It's just that I've been a fan of them for so long, and I've loved Jared forever. And then here you come out of the blue with your pink hair, and just like that, you're friends. She snapped her fingers in front of her face. But here, I've been trying this whole time, and Jared didn't even know my name. I know I'm being stupid, and I feel bad, but I still... Well, we're not gonna say some friend you are, because obviously, you know, being a kid is hard, and making friends with people that you're, that you admire is hard, you know? But obviously, they know her name now. So we're gonna go with they're your friends too. They wouldn't have invited her to the tournament if they weren't friends with her. Or at least didn't consider somebody, you know, that they would spend a large amount of time with. You know. Mai smiled weakly at me. They wouldn't be my friends if it wasn't for you. Mai. I'm going to sleep. She turned over and closed her eyes without even taking off her uniform. I turned off the light and walked to the bear she threw in the middle of the room. I'm sorry, too. I said it quietly, but even as the words left my lips, I knew they were a lie. Despite our slight confrontation last night, Mai was as peppy as usual the next day. It seemed like there was no reason for me to worry, but that didn't mean I didn't. The bell rang and class started. Miss Shizuka wrote "origami flowers" on the board in an ornate script, then turned to glare at the class.
Class?
The flower festival is only a few days away. It's time again to start folding flowers to sell for the school. We do this every year, guys. I don't want to hear any groans. You're free to write me an essay on the importance of these funds for the school if you'd rather not participate. A few students rolled their eyes, but I smiled. It sounded kind of fun, and I hadn't folded origami in years. I'm handing out practice sheets because I know how bad you guys are at origami. I'm only going to teach you once, so pay attention. Shizuka returned to the front of the class, picking an ornate green paper. As she instructed the class, I realized that these were the most basic version of origami flowers. I was already familiar with them. I folded my practice paper with ease while Shizuka roamed the room, helping students who struggled to follow along. These creases are weak! Kindergartners could do better than this. Hell, my ex could do better than this. Jeez, lady! Lay off the kids! Man! Sadness passed across Miss Shizuka's face. She turned to the boy next to her and slammed her hand on his desk, again with the screen shaking. Jeez. You need to be better. Be better for everyone's sake. Jesus. Seemed like quite a few students were having trouble. I went to the front of the class to get some new paper, passing John on the way back to my seat. His paper caught my eye.
Hey.
You folded this the wrong way. Your flower's going to be narrow if you keep going. I'll be honest with you, Hana. I have no idea what I'm doing. Help me? He kind of looked like he was about to cry. Oh, no. I knelt by his desk, unfolding and refolding his paper. This looks perfect. You're so good at origami. Did you have to make flowers at your old school, too? No, I used to do origami a lot when I was younger. I guess muscle memory just kicked in. Thanks, though.
Really?
What an odd skill to have. Is it? Please. John clasped a hand around my wrist. Stay with me. Help me? Sure, if you need it.
Yeah.
I knew I could count on you. Thank you, Hana. You're a goddess. Well, I mean... I spent the entire rest of the class period slowly doling out lessons to John and PBG. I offered to help Shane, but he turned away from me, instead watching over John's shoulder. I kept my movements large and exaggerated so he could see too. It was nice to feel useful. Yay! We're useful! Yay, we did a thing! Alright, so we're gonna leave this episode here on this nice, good feel note. Hey! You stop that! I'm not out of focus. You're out of focus. Alright. Anyway, I'll see you guys in the next episode.